Thousands of Americans have joined nationwide protests against President Donald Trump's trade tariffs and the radical shakeup of U.S. politics driven by his administration. Hands-off rallies have been held in all 50 states. There's growing public anger at Trump's policies as well as Elon Musk's cost-cutting campaign.
California to Colorado, in Chicago and New York City. The crowds at hands-off rallies had countless messages, but one shared mission: to protest the policies of President Trump.
It hurts a lot to watch what's happening to the country.
Americans around the country are out on the streets saying, no way.
Investors are bracing for the week ahead after stocks plummeted last week. President Trump's 10% tariffs are now in effect, with higher reciprocal tariffs set to switch on this week. Cameras caught a glimpse of President Trump as he left his Florida golf club Saturday. But in a post on Truth Social, the president called the changes an economic revolution and told Americans to hang tough.
Their tariffs are not only imbecilic, they're illegal, they're unconstitutional, and we're going to turn this around.
Rallies were also held overseas with crowds in Paris, London, and other European capitals.
The policies Trump is following are a threat to the world as we have come to know it and enjoy it as very privileged Westerners.
Today, we really want to send a message of solidarity to our friends and families back in America.
It was the largest single day of protest since President Donald Trump returned to office in January. Under the banner Hands Off, opponents of Trump's policies rallied, from critics of his economic policies to those concerned about civil rights, to climate activists in towns and cities in all 50 states.
Thousands of people, including right here in San Diego, as you see, taking to the streets today, rallying against the Trump administration's immigration policies and mass firings of federal workers. It is all part of more than 1,200 what they are calling hands-off demonstrations across the country. NBC 7's Chandel Maniz starts us off with a look at the turnout right here in downtown San Diego.
See, thousands of San Diegans have joined the movement against Donald Trump, against Elon Musk, who they say are abusing their power. That's why they've named this movement Hands Off.
This is one of several hands-off protests in San Diego County alone. In his 2.5 months in office with Elon Musk as his lead for the Department of Government Efficiency, President Donald Trump has signed more than 100 executive orders. It's more than half the amount he signed during his entire first term, according to the Federal Register. Among the most controversial orders have been him enacting mass deportations, withdrawing from the World Health Organization, and ending federal diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives.
When you have areas that don't have a real good appreciation for our indigenous brothers and sisters, people of African descent, people Latinx, people who are Jewish, who are Muslim, and things of that nature, that breeds division. That breeds incompassion. And when it's absent, that's when we have strife and struggle between people.
His future would be so uncertain.
Ann Brown says hands off her son's health care benefits.
Our son has got a life-threatening form of epilepsy. He's developmentally disabled. He's got autism, Tourette syndrome, and he has anxiety. If they take his benefits away, it's going to be devastating. The option is he either has these benefits and he's stable with the right kind of help, or he's let loose out in the streets to possibly succumb to his life because he can't function.
Other protesters want hands-off Social Security, clean energy, and tariffs, but not everyone agrees.
Trump administration planned worldwide, including here in Southern California.
Hundreds gathered in Torrance as part of the hands-off rally. They're upset with the Trump administration to the economy. In Seal Beach, a retirement community is protesting the economic changes as well and are demanding the White House leave Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid alone.
But one of the larger protests was in downtown L.A., with thousands gathering in Pershing Square to speak out against the president's policies.
KCAL News reporter Lori Perez spoke to several of the protesters about what changes they would like to see.
Someone described this as discontent spilling into the streets. What we saw was not discontent, it was fury.
Stand up, fight back!
With chants, clever signs, and creative costumes, thousands marched in the streets of downtown Los Angeles Saturday, opposing the Trump administration for, it seemed, as many reasons as protesters. The mass layoffs by DOJ, the Department of Government Efficiency, aggressive immigration actions, the tariffs, which decimated Wall Street this week.
He's out to destroy the middle class, and if you destroy the middle class, if you destroy that and it's reduced to a small middle class, there is no America.
The massive crowd marched from Pershing Square to City Hall, on either end hearing from speakers critical of what the president and Elon Musk, the world's richest man and head of DOJ, are doing to overhaul the government and expand presidential authority.
States and Europe can establish a very close partnership. We obviously are, there's an alliance already, but I'm hopeful that there can be a very close relationship with America and Europe. And I'm hopeful, for example, with the tariffs, that at the end of the day, I hope it is agreed that both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero tariff situation, effectively creating a free trade zone between Europe and North America. That would be that's what I hope occurs. And also more freedom of people to move between Europe and North America, if they wish. If they wish to work in Europe or wish to work in America, they should be allowed to do so, in my view.
We have a hard at least 3 years going ahead of us, and we need to let people know that it's okay to speak up, it's okay to fight back, it's okay to say the government is not a god, it's not a god system, it's not above any of us. You should be free to fight back and say, hell no, we're not going to be silenced.
The nationwide protests come as some Democrats have been critical of their own party, saying politicians and voters are not, as their popular rallying cry says, resisting.
And with the president in West Palm Beach, Florida. Vaughn, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Willie. The president says those tariffs are, quote, here to stay, and telling Americans to hang tough. But no one knows how the markets will react tomorrow at opening after a tumultuous week on Wall Street. White House trade advisor Peter Navarro saying this weekend the market will find a bottom. It will be soon. But what is that bottom is the question from millions of anxious Americans, including many we talked to here in West Palm Beach, just down the road from Mar-a-Lago, at one of those massive hands-off protests held in every single state Saturday. Folks told us it was the biggest demonstration they'd seen in this area in the decade that Trump has now been in politics, echoing concerns